red, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the Fish Report, hanging at the Fish Report, hanging at the Fish Report. You got Craig and TK and Head that D, tune in at the Fish Report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, folks, to another Fish Report Live, our first episode of the winter sports season. My name's Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your co-host. Back in the sound room, of course, it's the dynamic duo of TK and Heavy D. We'll be joining those guys here in just a few minutes. And Ken, I'm excited to talk some winter sports, excited to talk some girls and boys hoops tonight, but we still got a few athletes left on the gridiron from the fall sports season, don't we?
Yes, we do, Craig. Like you mentioned, we're really excited to kick off our basketball season tonight, Craig. But first of all, I want to wish good luck to the three MAC schools playing for state championships this weekend, Craig. You got the Minster Wildcats, the Marion Flyers, and the Coldwater Cavaliers, Craig, all playing for state championships again. The MAC is going back to Columbus again. 3 teams this year. Just an incredible feat that league accomplishes year in and year out. And, Craig, don't forget their friends from the G-Walk, the Trotwood Madison Rams, also playing for a state championship. So we got 4 teams right here in the Miami Valley. Hopefully they bring home 4 gold trophies, Craig, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those games on television on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, those teams, they've been to Ohio Stadium now. The MAC has sent 3 teams the last 3 years. They're going to be sorry to see this go up to Northeast Ohio again next year. It moves.
That's for sure, Craig. I read a very impressive stat I seen this week. The Coldwater Cavaliers, Craig, are participating in their 8th consecutive state football championship game.
Yeah.
These kids that are seniors on that team were in the 4th grade. They've been going to the state championship game every year since they were in the 4th grade.
They don't know any different. They don't know any different.
So good luck to all those teams.
All right. Well, like I said, excited to talk some girls and boys hoops, and that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to preview the SCAL boys, give our predictions on who we think are going to be some of the top teams, and we're going to talk some girls basketball, including a big interview.
Yes, we are, Craig. Really looking forward to the new head coach of the Russia Raiders. That's Andy Timmerman. Andy previously coached the Russia freshman team last year. Craig did a phenomenal job with that team. Actually, Craig taking that team to a 19-0 record for the freshman boys last year. He steps it up this year to the varsity girls, Craig. He's got his team off to a great start. He's a young, energetic coach. A lot of fun to watch his team play.
Yeah, excited to get to that, Ken. But before we do, just like we do here every week on Fish Report Live, we have our weekly poll question, and tonight's poll question is about boys basketball.
Boys basketball, Craig. The Russia Raiders will be going after their 4th consecutive Shelby County Athletic League title this season. Will the Raiders be able to accomplish this feat? Simply vote yes or no. We'll check the telemetrics at the end of the show and see what our viewers are thinking.
Yeah, if you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page, you can always scroll down, help us answer tonight's poll question, and check the results. If you're watching us on cable TV like NK Telco or Game Face Ohio, like Ken said, TK will have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started talking some boys hoops. And, of course, we like to talk SCAL. We like to talk MAC. We like to talk CCC. We like to talk all kinds of basketball tonight. We're going to focus a little bit or focus entirely on the SCAL. I want to bring the sound room guys in for this one. And guys, last year, very competitive. Russia, of course, won the league last year, but then maybe got upset a little prematurely in tournament in the sectional finals by Fort Laramie, who finished 5th in the league. And then you had your second-place team in the league, Jackson Center, going as far as anyone to the state semifinals. I see a lot of the same again this year, a lot of parity. And I guess tonight, let's get things started with let's start with the Fairlawn Jets, guys, with probably one of the greatest scorers in the history of Shelby County League, at least by the end of his senior year, in Nathan Lessing, huh, Ken?
Yes, he is, Craig. And like you mentioned, the Shelby County League is going to be very balanced this year. I think, between Fort Laramie, Fairlawn, Jackson Center, Russia, I think those 4 teams are probably going to be the top 4 teams in the league. Howson's going to play hard every night, and then you got Botkins, of course. So you're going to have to come to play every night. One kid that's definitely going to come to play, Craig, is this guy, Nathan Lessing, Fairlawn Jets, 6'1" senior. Last year he averaged 28 points per game. Craig, he is on pace easily to shatter the all-time scoring record held by Fort Laramie great Tom Brandewy. Nathan needs 303 points to break that record. Last year he had over 600 points. So, look for the Jets, though, to be a little more balanced this year. He's got a lot of support. And their coach over there, Justin Tidwell, Craig, he's going to look for 6'4" big man Luke Hickman also to help carry some of that scoring load. The Jets are loaded with talent this year. They've got Josh Reck, also 6'2" senior, very athletic. Keyshawn Johnson, the ultra quick guard for the Jets. So look for Fairlawn to be very, very good this year, and I think they're going to be right there near the top of the Shelby County League standings.
Yeah, one thing I like about Fairlawn, again, you mentioned Lessing over there. He kind of, any team that prepares for Fairlawn's got to figure on a way to contain that guy. So he automatically takes the pressure off everyone there. You mentioned Hickman, some of these other guys over there. He takes the pressure off all those guys. Like I said, every team's got to be focused on containing Lessing, and it just makes those other guys that much more productive.
Absolutely. They also got junior Drew Brodigan, the 6'2" post player who can really get after it inside. And I've seen the Jets play a lot over the years, and I think a lot of their success is going to come down to defense and rebounding. Can the Jets defend and keep the other team from getting the game into the 60s and 70s? When you play Fairlawn, you're not going to want to play that 60, 70-point game. You're going to want to keep it down into the 40s and 50s because Nathan Lessing, like we said, can go off for 25, 30 points a game. But the real key to the Jets is going to be rebounding and defense. I look for them to be they're going to be a handful this year. They've got a lot of depth. They've got a lot of speed. Keeping Nathan Lessing off of the free throw line is also going to be a key. If you looked at the year-end stats last year, he shot almost twice as many free throws as anybody else in the Shelby County League. Just a phenomenal player. He's taken his talents to UNOH after the season's over. And, look for Fairlawn to be good.
Yeah, they host Botkins on Friday night, and then they're at Bradford on Saturday, so I see them guys getting off to a pretty good start. Let's move ahead and talk about the Jackson Center Tigers, Ken. You mentioned those, and I want to ask TK about Jackson Center. I had a hard time jumping on Jackson's bandwagon last year, TK, because the year before they had graduated Gavin Wildermuth. I thought, boy, you can't graduate a player like that and come back. What do you know? They go to the state semifinals. This year they graduated Drew Sosby from last year, the Shelby County Player of the Year. Once again, I have a hard time jumping on the Jackson bandwagon again this year. What do you know about the Tigers?
Well, just like it seems every year, there's a couple teams that got to reload. Last year we thought Jackson was reloading, but doesn't look like they really did. This year we're saying they're doing it again, but they've got a kid named Brady Wildermuth, and I think we all know his name from last year. That other part of the dynamic duo with Sosby, he only averaged just over 18 points a game. And on the defensive end, averaged just over 3 block shots. So a force on both ends, and he's going to be the key. Somebody that Coach Elker's going to have to build around. And there's a reason Coach has been there for 16 years and been as successful as he is, because he knows how to take those kids, build around that solid core, and make a good team out of them. He's got a couple supporting cast coming back from last year, Drew Sosby, and let's see who else. They got Gavin Boozer. He was a nice solid starter for them. Then off the bench, Trent Platfoot came in for him, and so that's their 4 big returning players. So he's got a 5th spot he's got to fill in. He's got a couple options to work on. I'm sure he's been working on it this summer, and I look for Coach to build another nice team over there.
Yeah, once again, I have a hard time jumping on their bandwagon. They don't seem real deep to me. They don't seem real deep, and I don't see how a team that can't go 8 guys deep can be successful.
Well, Craig, they did it last year. Coach Elkert does a phenomenal job. He really only played 6 guys last year, and I remember playing him twice, and we watched their 5th player shoot all night, and we just said if you're going to beat us, this guy's going to beat us, and they'll be there. I guarantee you, they'll be there.
All right, well, we will see on that.
Brady is a great player.
He is. He is a nice player, that's for sure. Looking forward to seeing him. And let's move ahead, Heavy D, and talk about our hometown team, the Russia Raiders. And Russia seems to be in a very good position because I'm looking at things, and the best player they lost was Trevor Monin, who only averaged 4 points a game last year.
Yeah, the coach Spencer Cadonier is back for his 2nd season for the Raiders. I think he was a little bit surprised by the Raiders' overall success last year, finishing up 21-4. Came up a little bit short in the sectional finals against Fort Laramie, lost by 1. Had a chance to win it with a shot at the end that didn't go in, actually got blocked. Raiders graduated 8 seniors last year. 5 of them got a lot of playing time, but they do have a couple underclassmen back. Dylan Cadonier will be at point this year. Dylan took that position over early in the season and held it throughout. Also, you've got Cole Tebby. He's fun to watch. He's extremely aggressive. and he'll go toe-to-toe with anybody. And Jack Daypor moved up last year in game 6 or 7, moved up from JV into a starting spot for the Raiders last year, and he's fun to watch. He can shoot outside, he can play inside, he can even run the point. Also, a couple underclassmen cutting their teeth this year on varsity. Drew Sherman, a 6-foot guard, and Drew Poling, who's got some pretty good ups. He'll be fun to watch playing underneath and banging away inside. Also, a couple other guys underneath to watch. Hunter Cohey, about a 6'3", 6'4" junior, and Daniel Kearns is about 6'4", and he saw some playing time last year on JV, and he moved into a varsity spot for the Raiders this year.
Yeah, I see some good scoring. You mentioned Daniel Kearns. I see some scoring from him this year. I think he'll be a surprise to the league. And Jack Daypor, he's a scorer, of course. A guy like Bryce Godonier didn't score a lot from last year. He's going to have to step up, I would think. Certainly can.
Yeah, Dylan's going to have to get off 10 to 15 shots a game. We can't have the Russia point guard only shooting 2 or 3 times a game. He's got to get shots off. I think Russia is going to come to play hard every night. They're going to defend. They're going to be probably one of the best defensive teams in the league. The question, like Coach Kodonier has mentioned, is, where's the Raiders scoring going to come from? Like you said, I think Kearns inside. I think Daypor on the perimeter. I think Tebby inside. But one thing the Raiders got going for them, Craig, they can go extremely tall this year. They can go 6'5", 6'4", 6'4", 6'2", and about 6'1". With a lineup out there. So they've got some very good size. With Daypor at 6'4", he can run the 2-guard for you. And you put a couple of the other tall guys underneath. So look for Coach Kodonier to battle right there night in and night out and have a chance to win the Shelby County League again.
Yeah, and I mentioned them only losing Trevor Monon last year and his 4 points per game, but of course Trevor Monon was one of the best defensive players in the area last year, and that's certainly something they're gonna miss this season.
Absolutely, Craig. So we've talked about Fairlawn, we've talked about Jackson, we've talked about Russia. Let's talk a little bit about the Fort Loramie Redskins, Craig. We'll let you handle that one, but I think they're going to be a phenomenal team this year. They've got a lot of talent coming back from last year. They've got a couple seniors that I think are going to really help gel that team. But the good thing about the Redskins, if you're a Redskin fan, the nucleus of their team is very young. They're still just juniors. So what do you got to say about the Redskins?
Yeah, I think they're a very interesting team. As you mentioned, they lost some guys from last year. A guy like Drew Werman, who did score a lot for him, but I was never in the huddle with the Loramie Redskins, but I think he was a kind of a floor leader. Probably did a little bit more than I expected. Lost a guy like Tanner Rosengarten last year too. But the nucleus that they bring back, I'm looking at those juniors, guys like Dylan Braun, who may have been their leading scorer last year. They've got Evan Burning back. They've got Tyler Siegel back. All juniors there and all very good. And, sometimes I don't think it matters how good you are. It's how good you think you are. Mm-hmm. And I think the Loramie Redskins think they're pretty good right now, and deservingly so. They knocked off the Shelby County champs last year in the sectional finals, and I think they carry that momentum into this season. Again, I think they're an interesting team to watch. I think if Loramie wins their first several games, gets on teams early, I think they can be real dangerous and a real threat to win the league. I'll just be interested to see what happens if they drop a couple games or get down early to see how they respond to that. Mm-hmm. And I know Coach Britton over there is a real motivator, so I expect him to be on top of that and not letting those skins get down over there. And I look for some success from them this year, and I think it's going to make the league real interesting between them and the other 3 teams that we mentioned.
Agree. Mm-hmm.
So good stuff there, guys, and a good preview. As you mentioned, there's a couple other teams that we didn't quite hit on so much, and that is the Anna Rockets, which I expect to be good. As always, you got Houston and Botkins, and I believe they're kind of a rebuilding modes over there. So, as every year, any Shelby County team on any given night, you never know what's going to happen.
That's right. Look for Houston to come out and play really hard this year, Craig. I think they're going to be extremely motivated with the new head coach they got over there, and Brad Francis. I think he's going to get his kids to play very hard for him, and you're going to have to get up when you play Houston, because if you're not ready, they'll knock you off. Anna, they've got a ton of kids over there to choose from. I think they're going to find some athletic enough kids to go with Wyatt Bensman, who can carry a big scoring load for the Rockets over there. So, Anna, Houston, I think they're also going to be very competitive this year. Like you said, I feel Botkins is in the rebuilding mode, but anything can happen.
All right, great stuff. And we'll end our boys preview at that. Let's take a short break, and we'll come back. We'll talk a little girls basketball, including that interview with Russia coach Andy Timmerman.
The boys will be playing open stage at the Leaving Van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. A teacher, a cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, looking for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
Welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live, and I understand from some of our live viewers out there, Ken, that we may be having some audio or video problems, and if hopefully you can hear us fine now. If you can't, of course, you can always watch the replay on Fish Report's YouTube channel, and if you live in NK Telco territory or Game Face Ohio territory up there in the Wapak St. Mary's area, of course, we're always rebroadcast on those great cable stations. So hopefully you'll find a good, clean version of this show to watch. But Ken, let's get back to talking some basketball, talking some boys basketball before the break. Going to talk a little girls now, again, focusing on the SCAL tonight. And let's take a look at the early season standings on girls SCAL and see where we're at right now.
Well, like you said, Craig, early, and it is very early, but Russia Raiders 1-0, Botkins and Fort Loramie all 1-0 in the league. Jackson Center, of course, yet to play after their successful volleyball season. But Russia Raiders, Craig, off to a 3-0 start. I said, talked to you about it a couple weeks ago, Craig. I said, I think the Russia girls, this could be their year. I think they've got a lot of talent. They've got some nice tall girls inside. They've got great shooting guards. They've got a good point guard. They've got good post play. So, all in all, Craig, the long way to go in the league. Fort Loramie is going to be there. Jackson Center is going to be really good. And I expect the Anna Rockets to be up there as well. But, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, speaking of those Fort Loramie Redskins, they won their first game the other night. They're sitting at 1-1 like you showed right now, and they did it with a couple freshmen there. They got a Myring and a Ratterman playing there. So, just when you think the Loramie Redskins might be down this year, here they go, and they got some freshmen doing it for them now.
Yes, they do, Craig. And, not only that, Craig, I've got some close connections to the junior high programs over at Fort Loramie. And I'm going to tell you one thing right now. If you think their girls are going to be down, they're not going to be down for very long, because their junior high teams, I don't think I've ever lost a game in volleyball or softball or basketball or whatever. So tremendous group of athletes coming up for the Redskins. So if you're going to get them, let's get them. You're going to have to get them this year.
Absolutely. All right, Ken. Well, again, we mentioned the Russia Raiders being on top of the SCAL right now, and they're doing it with a first-year head coach in Andy Timmerman. We're happy to have him live on the phone right now. Coach Timmerman, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.
Well, listen, congrats on a great start to the season. We just mentioned you're 3-0 out of the gate, which is actually the first time Russia has started the season 3-0 since all the way back in 2006, Coach. So what has your team been doing so well here to make you successful so early?
I think the biggest thing so far is playing defense as a team. So far we've had 3 games, and we've only allowed 30 points per game. Also, playing as a team offensively, we've had 3 games so far, and we've had 3 different leading scorers. First game, Maria Herron led us with 13 points. Second game against Bradford, Larissa Poling led us with 18 points. And last night against Houston, Cameo led us with 13. I think that's great that we have a balanced scoring attack and that we don't have just 1 or 2 players to rely on every given night.
Yeah, Coach, you took the words right out of my mouth there. I was going to mention the 3 different leading scorers, and that's pretty cool to see, or pretty encouraging from your standpoint. One of those leading scores in that game you mentioned, Maria Herron, comes back as one of the, in my opinion, one of the better shooters in the league. And just watching her a couple games, Coach, there's times where Maria's seems like to me a very unselfish player, where she likes to dish and that kind of thing. Are there times you would like to see her, actually take the shot maybe, or maybe force something, or are you happy with her playing the way she has been?
I think so far I'm happy with the way she's played. I know I looked at her yesterday and I was like, you need to shoot that. But overall, I think that it's good that we have a balanced attack, and it's not all the pressure on her or Tiffany or somebody else to rely on them to score. So I think she's doing a great job sharing the ball, and she does a good job of creating plays.
All right, Coach. Well, one thing Russia has this year that they didn't have last year is a junior varsity team. I wanted to ask you, how important is that junior varsity program, or how important is that team to your program?
I think it's crucial in the success in the Rushi girls basketball program. I think it starts from the bottom up, getting girls outs, getting numbers outs, getting them competing, enjoying the game of basketball. But just specifically with the junior varsity, it allows them to develop as basketball players and not be pushed into a varsity role right away. It allows them to focus on the fundamentals and compete with each other with those that they've played, and get used to the pace that high school basketball is about at the JV level before they have to jump up to the varsity level.
Coach, hi, this is Ken. First of all, I want to congratulate you on your nice 3-0 start. And a lot of that's had to do with your interior post play. Saw you girls play last Friday night. You took on the Sydney Yellow Jackets, who arguably have one of the best post players probably in the area in Selena Taborn. She comes in at about 6'3", 6'4", but you had some girls with some height of your own. Sophomore Larissa Poling and also senior Christina Garkey, and they matched up with her very well. They did a great job. How do you feel your post play can be this year, and what do they need to improve upon to continue to get better?
I think the biggest thing is just being physical inside. They both have size, and you can throw in Cameo Wilson in there as well as another post player. But I think that just being physical and rebounding the basketball, which they've done a great job so far this year. I think that's also them having an interior game, and it takes off pressure from the guards. They don't have to shoot the three. They can, have an inside-outside game, or the post players can make a nice move. They've done a good job inside so far, and I expect that to continue the rest of the year.
Coach, we've talked a little bit about your all-around good play from the whole team, front court, back court. Talk a little bit about your back court. Arguably one of the best backcourts in the Shelby County League. You've got 2 4-year starters there coming back for their senior year. They're both potentially could be 1,000-point scorers in the history of Russia School. Tiffany Hatcher and Maria Herron, 2 sharpshooters. They both handle the ball well. They both can do a lot for you. What's it like to have 2 experienced senior backcourt players like this, and how important is it for the Raiders and their success?
I think it's very crucial. I think that they've done an excellent job. They're, like you said, they've played for 4 years. They understand the varsity game. Their IQ of basketball is high. It's awesome. The quarterbacks of the basketball courts. They understand where people need to be. They communicate well with others, and they make everybody else around them better players as well. Just knowing where everybody needs to be, knowing when to push the tempo, when to slow it down, and they're excellent to have, and their leadership is great as well for the younger kids.
Coach, I got to watch you coach a lot last year as head coach of the Russia freshman boys team, and when you dealt with those games, you knew very little about your opponent. However, you still made great in-game adjustments, and that's going to be something that you're going to be faced with this coming Saturday. when you take on the state semifinalists from last year, Jackson Center Tigers, you know, they're loaded with talent. Their senior class is loaded. You know, they've got 2 back-to-back state volleyball championships. It's going to be a very, very tough game for you. And unfortunately, you haven't got a chance to see them play because they haven't played. What do you see? What's it going to take Saturday to get on a clear seat in the Bow Gymnasium with a big win?
I think just what we've done the first 3 games, just play team defense. We have to intensity's got to be high, push the ball up and down the floor. I know since they haven't practiced very long, so hopefully get the ball up the floor. They're not quite in basketball shape, but we just have to come in and compete because they've been successful in volleyball and in basketball, so they know what it takes to be successful. So just competing to their level and just playing as a team, being selfless like we have been, and just continue doing what we have done in the first few games.
What do you know about that team, Coach, from last year? Do you watch their tapes from last year, or how do you scout a team that you really don't know what to expect from them?
I do watch the games live from last year. I saw last year that their intensity. They put a little press on us and they're very patient with the baskall. They have a new coach this year, a little bit different of a team, so it's hard to prepare completely on what they're going to be like. But I know they're going to have high tempo, and they're going to bring their best effort every night, play hard, make those hustle plays. So we have to match that intensity.
All right, Coach. Hey, listen, one more question, and we'll let you go. But as Ken's mentioned several times already, last year you were the Russia freshman boys coach. This year you're, of course, the varsity girls coach. And I talked to another coach a couple years ago one time that switched from girls to boys, and I asked him what was the biggest difference between that, and he said, "Well, Craig, I can yell at the boys and I don't have to worry about them crying." So, what about you? Have you had to tone it down a little bit since you got with the girls program?
I wouldn't say I've had to tone it down. I would say the only thing I've had to do is maybe phrase things a little bit differently, but my coaching style is the same as it was last year. I think that, you just have to push them every day, knowing that they are capable of getting better, just encouraging, and I think they've done a great job of adjusting to my coaching style, and I look forward to a successful season this year.
Well, listen, Coach, from us 4 guys here at Fish Report, number one, we thank you for being on our show tonight. Congratulations on the great start you've got to this season. Good luck on Saturday, and good luck the rest of the year, and hopefully, you can take the Raiders to that next level.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks, Coach. Yep. All right, that was the head coach of the Russia girls varsity team, Andy Timmerman. And like we said, off to a great start at 3-0. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep that up against the state semifinalists from last year, Jackson Center. We'll see if that happens this Saturday. I want to bring the sound room guys in again real quick and got just a minute. And I want to talk to Heavy D specifically. Heavy D, last year, you did a little bit, I think, in the spring where you rattled off shows that Fish Report has passed up in a number of episodes. And I know we were at, I think, 159 or something in the spring when you last did that. We're at 170, I think, tonight. So I know you got a list back there. So what famous television series have we passed up with episode number 170?
Yeah, good call, Craig. This is a lot of fun. At 162, we're passing up Magnum P.I.
Oh,
nice.
Big one there, yeah.
A show that was influential in my forming years. We watched a lot of this in college, Growing Pains.
Oh, Kirk Cameron.
Kirk Cameron, yeah. The Flintstones,
wow.
Hogan's Heroes, and,
Colonel Klink? Was he Hogan's
Schultz
Heroes?
and Klink and Wilhelm and all those
Boy,
guys.
that's some big ones.
Those are classics.
169 shows. Barney Miller. If you want some dry humor, watch some reruns of Barney Miller. It's great
Fish?
stuff.
I think there was a fish in Barney Miller. We got a fish in
There
the show
was.
now.
I don't know how you
Fish on
remember
Barney
that.
Miller.
Yeah.
One of with Magnum PI, it went from 1980 to 1988, and Magnum always drove around in that little hot little red Fiero. Remind me a lot of Russia's current mayor, Terry Doherty, about the same height and build, and Mayor Doherty also had a red Fiero that he sported
Yes, he
around
did.
town as well. So
I think Magnum had a Ferrari. I don't know about the Fiero. I think Magnum
Was it a
driving
Ferrari?
yeah.
Ferrari.
And our mayor, I think he might have thought he had a Ferrari.
Yeah, but
it was a
Fiero.
Fiero. Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah. Well, those are some
That's
classics.
good stuff.
Heavy. That is good stuff. We might have to keep in touch on any future
Yeah, those
shows
are
we
some
pass.
big names we passed up.
That's pretty impressive, I guess you'd say. All right. Well, one more thing to get to, and that is tonight's poll question. And Ken, why don't you read that to the viewers again?
Well, Craig, the question is, we're talking some high school boys basketball to start our show tonight. And the Russia boys have won 3 consecutive Shelby County League championships. Our viewers out there, will the Raiders be successful in winning their 4th consecutive Shelby County League title this season? Simply a yes or no. TK, let's go back to the telemetrics. And what are they saying tonight?
Well, guys, I think we have a record. We have triple digits.
Wow.
Triple digit votes tonight. So
split 50-50 or?
No, I think the local crowd overwhelmed them. 97% or 111 votes for the Raiders.
Oh, wow.
And 3 votes for somebody else.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Well, that's good. That's I like to see that, and I hope they're right. But
We've got
we'll
a
see what
loyal
happens.
listening
That's why
base.
we're going to play the season out.
the viewers are tuning in tonight, that's for sure. All right, great stuff, guys. I do want to say special thanks tonight for Coach Timmerman for joining us on the show. Thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond. For your latest news and high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole when you tune in to the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond.